Okay, so we have a blank coding canvas here. I'm going to go ahead and rename this project. I'm going to call it Plankton Demo. You can call it whatever you need to call it for your own organization purposes. And we're going to break this up into a series of different coding blocks. So if some of these things don't make sense right away, it's okay. It will all in the end. So we're going to start right here just when the program starts. And what we want to do here in this code is just get the robot calibrated, make sure everything's working, and kind of get them set for the interactive component. So what we're going to do here first is we're going to head down here to the orange variables, and we're going to make a variable. And we're going to call this one voices, and it's going to give us now some variable blocks. And what we want to do is we want to drag this set voices block over. We're not going to do much with this now, but we just want it to be reset to 0 at the beginning of the program just to make sure we don't have any issues with our variable. Then what we want to do is we want to go here to our light blocks, and we want to turn on the LED lights. And here is what we're going to do is we're going to create the eye of Plankton the best we can with the pixels. And so we're just going to create this little eye feature just like that to make sure that the eye is on. And we want to turn the main button to black or off. So we're going to move this set center button and we're going to make it black just so it's not activated, so it doesn't distract from the overall build. Our next thing that we want to do is we're going to head up here to the motors, and we want to be able to ensure that all our motors are calibrated to the 0 position before we start. Just kind of get everything set to the basic destination point before we begin. So I like to make sure that my motor speeds are slow, so there's nothing too jerky or crazy. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this block for all our motors. I'm going to do A and C for sure. But if you wanted to add this for your other motors, you could go ahead and do that as well. If you wanted to add, D and E, just make sure they're all calibrated. It's probably not a bad idea. So you can just put all these in here. This is a slow speed, so it doesn't get any kind of jerky reactions here. And then we're going to use this block here, this move the motor to the shortest path to position 0. And this is what's going to move all the motors in to position 0 on the robot. So we're going to need 4 of those as well because we have 4 motors. And we're just going to move these. We got A, we want C, and then we want D. And we want to go ahead and do that for E as well. So this is just going to calibrate our robot all back to the starting positions. We're then going to go here under events, and we're going to start to broadcast some messages. Now we don't have anything built in these yet, but we're going to go ahead and get them set up. And we're going to call this one mouth. This one here eventually is going to trigger a sequence of code that's going to move the mouth up and down. We're also going to trigger another one here for the neck, and this is going to move the neck to the right and to the left. So we're going to broadcast neck here as well. And then what we want to do after that is in our control, we're going to bring a wait block over. And we're just going to make sure we just have a tiny pause here so it doesn't get too hectic with our robot. And we're going to go ahead and wait 5 seconds. Now, in the sound, we're going to go over here and we're going to start a sound. Now for you, if you have sounds already uploaded of Plankton, go ahead and use those. If not, you can just use something generally from the library. Let me go ahead and minimize this. And so in the demo, you're going to hear that I have Plankton sound effects. I just were able to download those from the internet and then load them into the software here. But if you don't have those, just pick one that you already have from before. So for this case, we'll just use one of these here. It'll be just fine, just so you can see the purpose of how this works. There we go. Alright, then we're going to go here to control, and we're going to bring a repeat block over, and we're going repeat this sequence here 3 times. Obviously, when you do your code, you can change this however you would like, but we're going to put an animation in place for our robot. So we're going to go back to the light and we're going to click this Start Animation. Now what we can do here in this is we're going to go to this animation library, and then what we can do is start to design our animations. We can have these lights do whatever it is that we would like. So I'm going to create just a panel here. I'm actually going to rename this. I'll just call it eyes, or eye actually. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and clear out the rest of these that we don't need. So there's our first one. I'm going to add a new one to kind of make it look like he is going to close his eye, and I don't know how perfect this is. All right, and we'll add another one here where it looks like it's just almost closed, and then we'll turn it off, and then we'll repeat the process to open it back up here. So we'll do that. We'll do this. Just like so. All right, so now that we got that, we're going to check that it's good, and now I have the animation here set for the eye. And you can design this however you would like. There's no right or wrong way. This is just the demo that we have. And we might want to put a pause in here too. This is up to you, just depending on your style, but as it does that animation, you might have it wait just 1/4 of a second before it repeats that process 3 times. So this is all the things that's going to happen when we turn our robot on. It's going to calibrate all the motors back to 0 position. It's then going to eventually move the mouth and the neck. It's going to say a little phrase, in this case just a damage sound effect, and then the eye is going to blink 3 times. So let's go ahead and set up these other broadcast blocks. So the way we do that is we're going to go here to events, and we're going to click the when I receive message, and let's go ahead and make this one for the neck. So I'm going to add a comment. I like to label my code, so we're just going to add neck, and I'm going to put this on top just so I know what this one is. All right, and now what we're going to do here is when I receive the message neck, which is what is here, it's going to shoot over here to this code, and away we go. So we're going to start with the motor block, and we're going to run this motor block. This is actually motor A. We're going to go clockwise, and we're going to go for 50, but instead of rotations, we're going to go degrees. And then we're going to put a wait block in here of just 1/4 of a second before it makes another movement, just so it's not too jerky. Again, you can calibrate this the way you like. And then we're going to do that same motor block again, but we're going to go counterclockwise this time, and we're going to go the opposite way. And we want to get it all the way to the other side, so we're going to double this, and we're going to go 100 degrees so it turns all the way to the other side. We'll then wait another 1/4 second here, and then after we do that, we will get it back facing forward, and we'll just set that position to 0 at that shortest path, so it'll just recalibrate it back. This right here will move the neck to the right and to the left. All right, so we're going to do a similar type of thing, but let's go ahead and do this now for the mouth. So we're going to go back to events, when I receive. All right, and let's just put that one over here now. And we'll say when this one is the mouth, duplicate this note. I'm not sure why it shot all the way up there. There it is. There's mouth. And for mouth, we're going to put a repeat block in here. We're just going to repeat only 2 times in this particular one. We just want it to open close twice. And we're going to go to our motor block. This one's pretty straightforward. And we're going to run. And this is the time it'll be motor C. And we're going to run that counterclockwise, and we're going to do that for 50 degrees like we did before with the neck. And then we're just going to move it back to the starting position. So we'll just put this shorter path back, and it'll just go right back to the open and close. And we'll redo this 2 times. So this one's pretty easy and straightforward. We're going to do one more of these. I don't know where that note went. And we're going to do this one for the arms. All right, so we don't have a code for arms yet, but we will. But let's go ahead and just get it all squared away here. So since we're in this similar set of code here, so when I receive, we'll go ahead and throw that on here. All right, we're going to have a new message. Let's just call it arms. We're going to put another repeat block in here. We're going to do it 2 times. It's kind of like an up and down gesture. All right, and then we're going to go here to these movement blocks, and we're going to set our movement motors to the 2 motors that control the arms. In this case of this code, we have D and we have E. And we're going to set this speed to 20%. You can adjust it the way you like. I always like it a little slow. And then we're going to move straight here, and we're going to move this straight negative 40 degrees. Move straight for negative 40 degrees, and then we're going to then do this same block again. All right, but this time we're going to go regular 40 degrees. So it's going to go up and then back down. And then we just want to make sure that everything is back where it needs to be. So as I was running this code and going through lots of iterations, that we make sure that we're always in good shape. So we'll just put this recalibration blocks in here, this shorter path again. That's why this is so important in the beginning. And we'll just make these D and E. So that way we know that the arms will be reset back to where we want them to be. So that right there is for the arms. Clearly you can adjust those the way you want to. Next, let's go ahead and move now to the color sensor. And what we can do with this is I'm going to show you one for the sake of this video, but then you can go ahead and just repeat this whole process as many times as you would like. So I'm going to add a comment here of just color sensor. And what we want to have here is we want to change this. Our port is F for our color sensor for this build. We can choose any color we would like. For this, let's just pick white so you can see what that looks like. And what we can do now is we can bring in these events these broadcast blocks over. So when the color sensor sees white, we can now start to broadcast over to all these codes. And here's what's really cool is you can make as many of these different types of actions as you'd want and just change the broadcast signal. So this really allows you to build some really cool complex designs and ideas if you wanted to. But for this one, we're going to pick mouth. So when the white color sensor is detected, it's going to broadcast mouth, and then it's going to go over here, and now it's going to start to move the mouth up and down. We're going to put another broadcast block underneath that because while the mouth is moving, I also want the arms to go up. So we're going to pick arms to activate as well. Now while that's going on, I'm going to put just a really quick wait block in here. So while that's sending that signal and getting things set up, we're going to put a little pause there. And then we're going to start a sound. And you can make this any of his classic phrases that you would like. I'm just going to keep it as cat meow for right now. And then you could go through now, and I might want to then even, while that noise is going, I could repeat 2 times, 3 times. Let's just do 2. And now we could start our eye animation as well. So we could start the animation of our eye. So now the eye is going to be blinking, it's going to be saying the phrase, and then the mouth is going to be moving, and the arms are going to be going. So we kind of have this built here. And here's what's really cool. Once you have one of these done, I can right click and duplicate this. I can drag it right next to it. And now what I can do is I can change the color. And now I could go in here and I could change the sound. I could actually change what I actually want to have happen. It's up to you what you want for each of these colors. So you could just keep right clicking and duplicating these, picking the color and then changing what you want to have happen for each color sensor. So that is pretty sweet and pretty cool as well. If you use the distance sensor, that's an optional thing. It's not built onto the robot, but it's definitely a sensor that you could use. We could go here to events and we could drag this over here as well. I'm going to put it underneath the color sensor, keep our sensors together. It's only going to be in port B. It's the only port we have left, and we're going to choose that when it's closer to 8 centimeters, what do we want to have happen? And what we could do is we could go to our variable now, and we can grab our variable block of set voices, and then go over here to our operators and do this pick random. And here's how things can kind of be pretty cool. I can have it every time we get something close. It's going to trigger. It's going to change our variable that our voice variable is assigned to. It's going to pick 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then what we want to do is we're going to send a broadcast signal again. So we're going to go to broadcast, and we're going to broadcast here, and let's make a new one called random sound. And what we can do there now is we can also get our animation going. Let's get those eyes playing, blinking and moving and grooving while it does that. And now you notice we don't have anything for random sound yet. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to go here to our events, and we got to find our broadcast. When I receive, just like we did for the arms, the neck, and the mouth, when I receive, let's go random sound. We can do this now, and this is what's really cool. And you can do this with animations and motion, whatever you like to do. I'm going to drag in here under control an if block. And in our if block, we're going to go here, we're going to go to operator, and we're going to pick this equal sign block that we have access to. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to slide this in there. So if our variable, which is now voices, we now just randomly gave voices a number. If voices is equal to 1, we're going to play a sound. All right, and we're going to, whatever that might be, and actually we'll just play it till it's done. That might be a better option. Okay, and I can go here and I can add my sound, whatever it is that I want to do. And I could actually now just right click, I can duplicate this, add it down below, and now if voice equals 2, what do I want it to do? And I can change the sound to a different sound effect that I want. And I could just keep repeating this for as many numbers as I would like. So I can change this here, I can make it 10, so as many sound effects as you would like, and it's going to play that sound for us. So just another kind of cool way to have some interaction with our robot. So in the end, you've got this nice swath of code that gets you started. It's enough to also then be easy to edit and modify it and make it work the way you want. So I hope you found this helpful. I would love to see what you design, what you code, what you have your robot do, and best of luck with all your creative engineering goals and objectives. Take care.